About 10 years ago, a totally new type of business took off. Technology allowed people who own things to share with others. Airbnb, Uber, Lyft, they all took off. And the concept was amazing. With ride sharing, many people looking for part time income signed up as drivers. And with the sophistication of phones, potential riders could request a ride, drivers near them would be notified, and they could accept the ride. And overnight cost for people to get a ride home after a night out of fun and partying got cheaper. Ride to the airport got cheaper. But as there are only a few competitors, we have seen the ride sharing companies continuing to increase rates. And now that they've gained widespread usage, the value proposition has become less and less to not only the people wanting rides, but also to the drivers. Well, today we're going to talk about a project that may be helping fix that problem. Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Rain. If you like money in crypto and you're looking for a real investor's take on the crypto market, join the Rainmaker family. You can do that as simply as liking this video and subscribing with the all notifications bell enabled. Special note, I'm not a financial advisor. I am a crypto investor myself. And I do own or plan to own most of what I talk about on this channel because I don't talk about crypto projects that I don't believe in. We do want to thank our Patreon members. We do have a private Discord that our Patreon members get access to. Go ahead and make it rain on that like button and strap in for this show. It's going to be a great one. Let's welcome our guest, Firdosh Sheikh, CEO of Drife. Firdosh, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for hosting me again.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the interview. We did an interview, it was about 9 months ago when the project was just launching.
Yes, we did.
And I remember that interview pretty vividly because your story about why you created Drife was compelling and how you came across the problem that none of us really realized was happening, but the driver, if you could share this story and how you learned about the problem that was there before you decided to start Drive.
Sure. This is a story that I've been telling for years now, and every time I tell this story, I have the same feeling that I had when I told the story first time to my co-founder when I decided to do Drive, and I love telling this story time and again. So I'm someone who was using ride-sharing platform ever since they launched in India. Scared of public transport, that was my only way to commute. Taken more than 5,000 odd rides with different platforms that exist. Even when I'm traveling outside India, I do the same. One night I was traveling to airport. It was a midnight trip that I took, and as soon as I got into the taxi, the driver asked me to cancel the trip and asked me to pay in cash. And he also said, like, you can pay me $100 less. I did the very basic thing that anyone would have done in that situation is ask why. Why are you asking me to do that? And that was the time I was in front of the harsh reality that drivers are not earning most of the money that I'm paying to the ride sharing platform. So that specific ride, I still remember I was paying $1,500 in INR, and the driver told me he was only getting 750 rupee in INR, which was almost 55% of the fare that I paid to the ride sharing platform. And it caught my attention because for me, using ride sharing platform was about convenience. Getting a cab at your doorstep is what we all needed. And we were all aware of the stories also where they said that ride sharing platform did really good for the driver community. Drivers are making real good money. But 8 years after that story took place, the story is not the same. Drivers are struggling to make their livelihood, and it caught my attention. The story that driver told me about being stuck in that vicious circle where every other ride-sharing platform that exists works on the same business model. And obviously, that was not the day when I decided I want to do something on my own because of my own background, where I come from financial background, know nothing about tech. I started speaking with every other driver I was traveling with. I spoke with 1,000+ driver before I went to my co-founder, who was also my colleague, and said, like, this is a problem. Why are they charging huge commission? Why can't there be a solution where they don't charge from the earning of driver? Because at that point, I was very convinced that at the end of the day, if a driver is spending endless hours behind the wheel, he deserves to earn the 100% fare that I am as a rider is paying. And that's how our journey of Drive started, where we thought of a very simple problem statement that, okay, they charge huge commission, and a very simple solution that build something without commission. But as we started digging deeper, we realized the problem is bigger than what we saw. It's something that nobody's paying attention because it was about the technological disruption in the mobility industry. The topic of mobility was never as interesting as it has become because of the technological disruption. And there is one thing that I was convinced that if today, 10 years down the line, ride sharing platform have become multi-billion dollar public companies, and the drivers are still struggling to make their livelihood, there is something wrong. There's something that is broken, which needs attention. And that's how our journey of Drive started.
That's a fantastic story. And most of us were not aware of the pain felt by the drivers, right? They're only keeping 55% of that fare. I can't imagine 45% being taken out for the software behind orchestrating that, but it is what it is. And when there's too few competitors in an industry, you often see monopolistic type behaviors.
Yes,
In addition to the drivers making less, the fares have gone up and continue to go up as well.
yes,
And it creates a setting rife for a competitor to come in and be able to crush them over time. Somebody who might offer cheaper fares to people while offering more money to the drivers so that the drivers make more, and they would probably come over very, very quickly,
yep.
because they can make more of the fare that's going on. Now, so you started working on the company. What was the time frame? About 2 years ago?
2 years ago. It's now 2.5 years ago, the day I got the idea, and we started looking at the solution. Because the first thing that when I said, like, how can we bring down the cost so I don't have to charge commission, was the time my co-founder was also working on a research project which was about blockchain implementation for hedge funds. And that's where I realized that, it is something that you and I, coming from finance background, cannot do on ourselves. We need more support. We need to understand this whole industry, because at that point of time, we were reading about blockchain, and that's where we got to uh, study more about. There was one project which started in 2015, was there till 2017, and you read about that project everywhere when you read about blockchain. Was Lazuz, was it spoke about decentralizing ride sharing. Everybody was speaking about decentralizing ride sharing, although everybody who attempted it failed. So every other project that tried to decentralize and call themselves Uber on blockchain failed miserably. So we knew for a fact that just putting Uber on blockchain is not going to solve problem. The whole business model is flawed. If anybody who has a profit motive involved in the fare that a rider pays to driver, they will initially manipulate the ecosystem to the point where they will manipulate the ecosystem for their own profit motive. So we were very sure about that, and we wanted to make that change. And that's where we spent a lot of time, working on the business model and just making an upside down to the business model that already exists in the industry. So spend a lot of time just building the architect, having a correct business model in place. And then we went ahead and started developing the application, getting people on board. So it was a long, I always say it was a long roller coaster ride for us to be where we are now.
Yeah. So, would you share a little bit with the viewers about how the company itself makes money while still allowing the riders to enjoy lower fares and the drivers to enjoy 100% of the commissions from the ride?
Yeah, so there are two aspects of how Drive functions and what value we stand for. As I said, we wanted to build something where I don't have a profit motive, because today I can say that I'm someone who's not going to charge commission or charge very less commission, and with time it increases. That's what everyone does. So we were very sure that we don't want it to have a profit sharing from the revenue that a driver generates from rider. This is like the next question was, how do you make money? Because this is a very heavy ops project. How are you gonna sustain with all the tech costs and all the costs that goes in? And that's where we came with a model which is software as a service. So we'll sell the service of software. So we give drivers access to our application and charge them subscription fees that they pay to us. And after that, every ride they make, that money belongs to them. So we work on a very basic subscription-based model, which is a very nominal fee that we take from drivers to give them access to the platform. That's a very basic business model. Apart from that, there is another thing that we started working on when we said, okay, we wanted to build something like this. The second question was about how you're going to scale this, because it's a very money consuming project, where people have burned billions of dollars. We don't wanted to do that. And that's where we decided that we will decentralize the operations. Instead of just decentralizing the text application aspect of it, we wanted to decentralize the operation side of it, where people across the globe who wants to run a taxi business, or whoever dreamt of running a taxi business, could not do it because of the fact that building a technology for a ride sharing business is a very time consuming task and an exhaustive task. We came up with the concept of decentralizing operation, which we call as franchisee, where you can get access to the app without building the tech. So the franchisee is also our revenue stream, because we will not run operations on our own. We make money through the revenue sharing that the franchisee will do with us.
That's fascinating. So in the different cities across the globe, somebody has a vested interest in that they could open a franchise. Then they
Yes,
probably make some money out of the subscriptions of everyone who subscribes in the area. But then you have local management, local vested
yes,
interest in
yes,
helping grow it. And so the subscription model is really interesting. So essentially the drivers pay a monthly subscription and that's their only cost. And then they get to
yes.
keep 100% of the commissions for the rides, which is a model I imagine you don't have any problem signing drivers up for. They probably get
Yeah,
really excited about that.
yes. That's there. That's what we have seen with drivers coming on board, where they're really happy about the fact that they obviously needed this assurance in place that you'll never charge me commission, because they said, like, we have seen a lot of company coming and going. They say, like, okay, initially we'll not charge commission for first 30 days or 50 days, then then they start charging 5% to go beyond what they can actually afford. And they needed this assurance from us as well, like, what is the guarantee that tomorrow you're not going to charge commission? So we said, like, this is the model. We'll charge you subscription fee. You decide what you want to pay, and we have also designed subscription in a way that driver can choose which subscription model fits him the best and choose for himself. So that's what we did, and that brought a lot of confidence in drivers. Like, okay, this is not another ride sharing platform who's gonna do the same that others have done with us.
That's fantastic. Could you share with us more about Drife's growth and how it's being adopted and which countries it's in now?
So we launched Drive in the month of November in Bangalore in India. Bangalore, India is the only city where we will be operating Drive on our own. That's the first franchisee which has been taken by us as Drive only. In November, when we did a pilot launch, so this was the first phase of actually implementing Drive on ground. The first 3 months we took to improvise on the application. So in November, and on 20th of November we launched it. So I'm not considering November, but December, January, February was the month when we actually spent a lot of time improvising on the application, because what you build and what kind of feedbacks you get, there's a lot that needs to be improvised. So the first 3 months was obviously for us to test the project, test the whole, the right flow for us. So after that, in the month of March, we started onboarding a lot of drivers. So we started in the month of November with 25 drivers who were part of this small pilot run, to month of March where we got 2,000 driver, to now when we have 5,000 onboarded driver in the platform. And this April was the first month when we went also ahead with a lot of marketing campaigns that we are doing, where we started getting a lot of ride requests. We are visible across Bangalore. You can book a drive if you're in Bangalore in India from any part of the Bangalore, and we are serviceable in like just 2 months of being in operation. We are serviceable across Bangalore with 5,000 active drivers on the platform, and around 15 to 20,000 riders who have already onboarded in the platform.
Wow. Okay, so growth is going well. And do you feel like
Yes.
the software, the interaction is going well, especially after just some improvements and getting some direct feedback?
So obviously we made a lot of improvements and a lot of so it's when initially when we started and thought like everybody thinks that okay, this is what you need to do, have just a basic ride flow where somebody can book the ride. It's not that simple. With time you realize there are so many modules that needs to be built within the application, and I say even now we are not 100% there. There's so many small modules, small features that you have to keep integrating, and you have to send new features every month that we are doing. I guess every 2 weeks we do that, where we are pushing a new feature into the application. So the community, specifically the rider and driver community, was also very supportive of us, and they kept sharing their feedback, and we kept working on those feedback. And it's an ongoing process. An app cannot be 100% perfect ever, and uh, the changes and corrections has to be done on the go. It is an ongoing process, and we'll keep improvising.
Okay, fair enough. The Drive token price, like most every token that launched about 9 months ago, is way down. Now, as a
Yeah.
crypto investor, I like very much to buy projects when their tokens reach very attractive prices. But what we often want to know as investors is the company strong? Is it likely to make it past the short term to the timing
Mm-hmm.
when money starts flowing back into the crypto market and
Yeah.
crypto tokens prices pump tremendously? See, I like these low cap gems where the total
Mm-hmm.
market cap is very, very low. But I want to know that the team continues like operations strong and they're not going to like fail in the next 3 months before money starts flowing back into the crypto market.
Yeah. So, when we did the token launch 9 months before, we were a team of 20, less than 20 people at that point in time. Now we have grown to 50 plus employees who just sit in the Bangalore office, and then we have people who work from different part of the globe also. So there is nothing that has stopped us. A lot of projects, lose their enthusiasm when the token price dips. But for me, it was never the case. I was always very keen on building what I'm supposed to build, because for a fact I knew I've spent 2 years building this, and this is the first time we have launched, a proof of concept in one city, and in 2 months of full operation, we have grown a lot. The only thing that we will have to do, and we have everything in roadmap, and I was speaking this with my own community last month about integrating the DRF token in the Drive ecosystem, where people who will be using Drive as a platform will be able to earn DRF token. Drivers will be able to earn DRF token and stake DRF to get micro loans. That's one aspect that we are working on integrating. The second is the franchisee that we want to implement. So, because we are the first company in the world to actually do franchisee on blockchain, or the whole decentralizing of operations. So we also have a very unique staking mechanism for franchisee, which lets you be a part of franchisee operation. So you can be a part of running the operation of Drive in a specific city by staking your DRF and get profit sharing from that operational unit. So that's something that we have in roadmap, which will be implemented with first franchisee staking for Bangalore that will go live, and then we have interest for more than 20 cities across the globe who are in the pipeline of be it some are at the stage of signing the MOUs, or some are at the initial stage of due diligence. So that's also in process. So we'll start doing that. So I always say like this is the best time if you want to enter or buy DRF, because this is the lowest that we have seen, because from here we have a lot of plans of actually utilizing DRF for Drive platform. There are very few projects that exist. They have real world utility. We are one of them. It's not yet integrated, and we have a roadmap for that, which is very close.
That makes perfect sense, and that was a fantastic answer. Yeah, I'm really excited about the token and really bullish about the project after this sharing. After you shared with me some of the things that you shared, I'm a what they call a swing trade investor that I hold for longer periods, anywhere from 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, 4 years. What I like is projects that have a strong use case. And I particularly like it when I feel like their token is vastly undervalued. And so you said something that a lot of projects get really disappointed or something when their token prices get really, really low. And it's so extremely normal these days that 9 months
Yeah.
after launching, their token prices go way down. Part of the reason is because a lot of the pre-sale investors just sell their tokens when they get them,
Yes.
and it drives the price down. And so this is extremely normal. So it doesn't really make me concerned. This is actually a point in time that I really look for. And anyway, to scoop up things when I feel like they're undervalued. Firdosh, thank you so much for joining us and sharing with our audience more about what's going on in Drive. Did you have any last thoughts to share?
So I guess this is what I always said, and I'll keep saying this. Like, if you're someone who's looking to make real quick money, Drive is not your project. I'll be, honest with everyone, and that's a harsh reality also of the crypto ecosystem that we have seen so many pump and dump happening. To build that kind of trust is very difficult, and everybody is looking for, short-term exit. And if that is your motive, please don't participate, because we are building something for long term. We are building something which will be actually the torch bearer for Web3 adoption. A mass adoption for Web3 will happen through platforms like Drive, who's building things which can be used by general public at large. So that's what I'm say. I always say, like, we are in this for a long run. We are in this to build something which will be very valuable and which will actually define the whole blockchain and crypto adoption for masses.
Yeah. I love that. Love that. You're not trying to sell people on getting your token. You're trying to explain them the value proposition as well as the time frame.
Yeah.
I love the business model that you're doing. I'm a particular fan of efficiency, right? And as much as sometimes people hate on companies like Walmart, I think of companies like Walmart as if they never existed. And I went to business school in the United States. And so we talked about Walmart and how it drove the cost of living for Americans, and then actually other parts of the world, down by as much as 20 to 30%. And that just means less people going hungry. So I like things that create efficiency, and what you're creating, if it's successful, will literally help riders make more money, help or riders pay less, drivers, it'll help them make more money, and it creates this efficiency that we're all looking for. And for a little while, Uber and Lyft and some of the other companies kind of did that. But now with them taking as much as 45% of the commissions, as well as raising fares, yeah, I just don't feel like their value proposition is really delivering. Their rates are going up to what taxis used to charge, right? And so
Yes.
I'm excited for what you're doing, because that'll create a true efficiency where literally more people will actually get in trouble less with drunk driving, because it'll be cheaper just to get a ride home, and they won't worry about the cost because it's a fair cost. And so I think about the benefits to the world, as well as, I'm an investor. I like to make money. I like to buy low and then sell high. And I
Yeah.
love where you're taking your company and the focus that you have.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
For those in the audience, if you're ready to be a rainmaker and join what I call the Navy SEALs of crypto in order to level up your crypto game, join us. Now, why Navy SEALs? Because Navy SEALs are not just above average, but the best. Now, in crypto, did you know that just 15 minutes or so a day of learning over time will put you in the top 1% to 2% with your understanding of the crypto market? If you use that knowledge and understanding towards smart investment principles, which we talk about here, I think your journey in crypto is going to be a great one. Remember, no rain, no gain.
Came into the space chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, live out before you could. Was told to fly when it was pouring like a rain, making